screen share.
Bruce, do we get an introduction from your better half?
Absolutely. Just get, oh,
Hello.
Hello.
there we go. Everybody, that is my wife, Robin. Let me
Hey,
just
Robin.
just
Hi,
get this
Tanya.
slideshow going.
Hi, Janine.
See that?
Everyone.
Everybody can see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
Terrific.
Yes.
Yep. So welcome, I'll formally introduce. So I'm Bruce Weinstein. My wife, Robin, and I are the owners, founders of Weinstein Wealth Insurance Solutions. We're a full service insurance agency covering everything on the life and health side, life, disability, long-term care, annuities, marketplace, non-marketplace, group benefits. And we also have, as you'll see, as we discussed today, referral partner relationships that allow us to do business in the PNC side. Okay. I'll kind of jump in a little bit because my intro is the first couple of slides. So you'll kind of get a sense of who we are. So I started in the industry in 1986 as a financial advisor, and I worked with some of the premier brokerage houses on Wall Street. 2011, I passed my CFP exam, built a book of business of over $100 million of assets under management. Year after year, I was a $1 million plus producer. Throughout my 30 years, I held various roles, including training manager, district manager, and director of sales. In November of this past year, Robin and I started an insurance agency. Giving up and selling our practice in 2016, leaving the security side, we decided to focus strictly on insurance for a second go around. What we're going to share with you is some of our successes in that short period of time. For the first 9 months, we focused pretty much in November, December for ACA open enrollment. We wrote about 80 applications, 58 National General, which is the off market for those who don't do under 65 health. We did 33 dental plans, 20 vision plans, 10 United Healthcare, which is like National General, it's non-marketplace. We also write, as I mentioned, Medicare, group, health, life, long-term care, disability, annuities, and partner with strategic alliances in PNC. After 7 months, we started to focus on the other aspects of our business. We've written over 20,000 of life premium. We've had $15,000 of declines. On top of that, we've done 3 annuity deals, paying about $10,000 in commissions. We've received over 15 group health plan referrals. Yes, 7 from one client. He has 7 different businesses. We've done 3 Medicare deals so far of T65. And again, we've done several transactions on the PNC side with nationwide partners. Within the last 60 days, I've launched Destined for Greatness and 2 different mastermind groups, one of which we'll discuss today. I hosted a breakout session at Cody Askin's 8% Nation last month in Dallas. And I've since been invited to speak at several other events, the Herman Sons Annual Summit, which will be in San Antonio at the end of September. For those of you who follow or are part of the TCC, the Closers Click, Victor, Joe, Sandra have put together a series of workshops called the Rising Stars, and they've asked me to participate and speak at those events with them as well. And they are then, for those in the Medicare space who know Justin Brock, he invited me to be a speaker at Medicare Con in Alabama next April. I think I got those dates right. And then I've now spent the last 3 weeks, I signed an agreement to work with somebody on writing and publishing what I hope to be the first of many books, the title being Overcome, which will detail the obstacles I faced throughout my career and how we overcame those challenges, thus the word overcome. So we've spent 3 weeks on that. I already got 6 chapters written. We're hoping to probably get it out by the end of the year. We pretty much have designed Destined for Greatness to work with any sales professional, insurance agents, obviously financial advisors, realtors being more of the sweet spot, but anybody in sales we think we can help with the program of DFG. Our agenda tonight, we're going to discuss topics on the following: are you an octopus? Never say no to an opportunity. Networking do's and don'ts. How to build your own referral-based network. How to generate inbound leads. Do you have all the tools in your toolbox? And are you selling versus solving? I'll share a pretty significant case I did several years ago that generated a $400,000 commission using life insurance and annuities. So let's start with, are you an octopus? In this regard, we're talking about what are your marketing efforts? How many activities are you doing? Where do you start with your business? And how successful can you be based upon the amount of activities that you do? Another way you may have heard or referred to is how many stakes are in your teepee. If you were building a teepee tent back in the day, you don't have 1 or 2 stakes in the ground. You probably have 5, 6, maybe even 8 to make sure that your teepee is secure and doesn't tip over or blow away in the wind. And so the same should go in regards to your marketing activities. I think Richard just entered. Hi, Richard, can you hear us? So question you want to ask yourselves is, how many activities are you using? And which ones are they? And what would be more effective, and which ones should you ultimately hope to wean away from and focus on the ones that are going to generate for you inbound referrals, which is the undercurrent of all of our topic today. Cold calling, painful, time consuming. People don't answer the phones, do not call lists. You got to scrub, a lengthy process to catch people. They don't know your phone number. People buy leads. Same thing here. It's expensive. It's time consuming, and often disappointing. Depending on your business, you might try direct mail, especially in the Medicare space. It can be expensive. There's time delays, certainly inaccuracies. We've got stacks of postcards for bad addresses constantly being returned to us. Again, it's an activity to try and get some direct contact to people. Natural market. We're going to talk about networking groups, which will generate inbound referrals, strategic partners, centers of influence, how you can become a center of influence with your client book and the people around you and your strategic partners. You've got websites, SEO, Google, YouTube, and of course, social media. We're very big on Facebook these days, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All of these would make up your octopus, your TP. We're going to talk about some of those tonight. Obviously, you have to make your own decisions on what works best for you and potentially add more of these activities. All right, so far? Which of these, this is kind of redundant, but which of these generate the most activities? Which of these are you capable of executing the best? For us, we tend to focus on these areas most importantly in our practice. My basic rule of thumb is we never say no to an opportunity. Now, in order to do that, you either have to have the knowledge base, the tools in the toolbox, or the referral partners to bring into the conversation when a client asks or a prospect asks, do you do blank? If I'm asking Tony, do you do Medicare, and Tony does AFLAC, Tony might say, no, instinctively, I only work with the AFLAC products and programs, or Tony might say, yes, I have a strategic partner that handles the Medicare needs for my practice. Let me bring in my colleague, Bruce. And then I would work with that relationship. And then depending on the licensing, I'm happy to share that revenue with Tony, being that he's also licensed in the space, right? If somebody's not licensed, clearly, you can't share commissions, maybe a small finder's fee, but for our purposes, anybody that comes to us, we always say yes. We want to be the conduit. We want to be the center of influence. We want to be that value proposition to our client and, most importantly, our network, and be the gatekeeper to bring in other areas of influence. As an example, today, I had a conversation in a Zoom call with an estate planning attorney back in New Jersey for one of our new clients that is in need of some trust work on an elder care situation. His wife was diagnosed at a fairly young age with early onset dementia. And so I don't do estate planning work, but I bring in the attorney. I stay involved in the conversation. In essence, I'm sitting on the side of the table with my client, acting on their behalf with the attorney. But at the same time, the attorney is also an ally. I know he's not going to throw anybody under the bus and do the proper kind of work. Our intentions are for everybody out there in your own universe is to make yourself become that center of influence. Have the business flow to you and you dole out, and then that makes you more referable to your referral partners because you have a conduit to be able to bring them in. They're going to want to reciprocate. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. When you've built your power networking group, you'll always have people to bring into those conversations, even if it's a plumber, an electrician, a roof repair, a home adjuster, whatever it is, you'll have a conduit to pass that business through. Let's talk a little bit about the networking opportunities that are out there and some of the do's and don'ts. And again, this is from my experiences, things that I've struggled with. I'm going to share some of those and what I feel are some of the tips or techniques to help you do better in your activities. You have the Chamber of Commerce, depending on where you live, they're very popular and strong. Down here in Florida, there's a big influence. And you have a variety of networking groups like BNI. Tony and I are in a group called Network Leads Exchange. There's programs M3. There's lots of different organizations out there for networking purposes. The problem is when you are new to a group, you're the new kid on the block, and there's established cliques already in place. When I moved to Florida from New Jersey, joined the Boca Chamber, the average chamber breakfast had 300 people. I walk in the room, everybody's in their little powwows. I don't know a soul, and I'm the new kid. So now when I want to break into conversations or meet people, I don't know if they're already an insurance agent, if they're already a financial advisor, or they're a realtor. And so you have to get your feet underneath you a little bit. We'll talk about how you can prepare a little bit for those activities. But part of the challenge is, as the new person, how do you make headway? How do you get into some of these groups and start to be accepted? Anybody here in Chamber or BNI currently doing any activities like this?
I am not.
You're not doing anything, Tanya? Okay.
No.
Well, obviously,
I'm
I
in
know
BNI.
you're in BNI, Kevin?
I
Okay,
am.
terrific. That's a seat exclusive? You have the exclusive seat for insurance?
I do.
That's great.
Well, I have 65 and under, and I help them because Mike is Medicare, so I help them
Okay,
with that through him. So
great. Obviously, I know Tony's in the group. Tony, you do any other groups besides NLX?
Yeah, I do a couple of free ones that are on, on Zoom.
Okay.
And then I'm also in Latip.
Latip. Okay. Yeah, I was in Latip in 1998. That's how I got exposed to the world of networking. So, and then ultimately in 2001, I set up my own group, which we're going to talk about. Cliques are established. That can be intimidating. How do you break in? And then how do you get people to want to use you when there's 15 others of you already in the chapter, right? They've already been established. How are you going to separate yourself and what can you do to be involved? And then for me, a big one, as I mentioned, walking in a room of 300 people, I personally, as for those of you who might know me more and find that I might be talkative or chatty or, easygoing and comical at times, this stuff makes my skin crawl. I hate walking in the rooms and all I can think about is what time does it end? And so it's acceptable. You should embrace it. We're going to talk about some things you can do to overcome it. But trust me, I'm doing it 20 years. I hate it today as much as I did then. Okay. So gauge your level of anxiety. And then let's talk about how you can do some activities or preparation to win so that your anxiety is not going to keep you from doing and booking these events. Obviously, booking them, getting on the calendar, paying the $30 for the event, making that commitment is going to be your first step, right? What I've encouraged others to do is bring a networking buddy, establish a relationship. I'm going to go with Kevin. I'm going to go with Janine. I'm going to go with Tanya, and we're going to make plans to go to that event together. So right away, I'm not alone. Next, you can start to play some games and challenge each other. Hey, Kevin, let's challenge each other to get the most cards. And whoever walks away with the most cards and interactions tonight, the loser will buy lunch, right? So something that's just fun, whether you pay up or not doesn't matter because you're both walking out a winner at that point because you're working at it. But you set up some friendly competition and now all of a sudden you're not alone, you're not isolated, and you can play this challenge. Now, part of that is also if I'm on this side of the room and Robin's on that side of the room and I'm struggling and Robin's involved in a conversation. She catches my eye and she waves me over. And now all of a sudden she says, have you met Kevin? Have you met Tanya? Right? Have you met Tony? Here's Sherry. And so you start to bring your partner, your buddy, into the conversation, right? Now, same thing. I'm over here. Hey, Jason, come on over. Let me introduce everybody to Jason. Have you guys met Jason? So that's some of the ways that you can start to chip away at this. Okay. Again, part of my challenge is I don't like being rude. And so when clicks are already established and people are talking, part of my anxiety is interrupting Richard and Jason and Marty in the middle of their conversation. And I just kind of like inch my way up and I'm kind of waiting for eye contact and looking for permission. Now you go to other events and you'll see people that are just a bull in a china shop and they'll interrupt and they'll get in somebody's face and, hey, give me your card. And, they're all about it. That's just not my style. So whatever works for you, find your comfort zone. But again, there's that buddy system to help break that barrier for you. All right, makes sense? Now, this is a key piece that depending on the organization that you're participating in, like a chamber, the chamber will always have a roster of the attendees that have signed up for the event. And you have access to that. So now if there's 75 people signed up for an event, you can go look at the roster and find out what business lines or companies they're with. And you can find what you want to identify as the key 3 to 5 people to make sure you meet. And so your mission now is, I need to find Kevin, I want to find Tanya, and I want to find Richard. And so now when I'm working the room and I run into Tony and I kind of know Tony, I say, hey, Tony, I'm looking for this woman, Tanya. Do you know who she is? Oh yeah, she's over there talking to, so-and-so. And, would you mind taking me over? You mind introducing me? Or at least you can identify who it is and walk over yourself. And so now you have your hit list, right? Whether they're a strategic partner you want to get to know, whether a center of influence like a CPA that you want to start working with, or just a business owner for those that mentioned they're in the employee space. Hey, I want to meet some of these business owners. Well, who's my profile? Who might fit the my avatar, as they say, right? Now, the networking groups are kind of like speed dating, right? You want to get some conversation, but you're really trying to get to the next step, which is let's get a longer meeting and a one-on-one. Schedule a coffee, take them to lunch, something that's going to be private in nature. Again, a flaw of mine is I'll tend to kind of do a mini one-on-one with somebody if I feel that the right person for me, like a CPA or an estate planning attorney. If they're not looking to leave, I'll keep the conversation going sometimes. But again, that I don't walk away with as many potential opportunities for one-on-ones, but I kind of had a mini one-on-one there. Again, you have to find what works for you, but certainly the objective is to get 3 to 5 at an event and now fill your calendar with one-on-ones. Okay. Now, one tip that I have in that regard is I invite somebody out, I'll pick up the lunch tab. That's just kind of my MO. I do that for 2 reasons. One, so they certainly don't feel obligated, for the event, but it also tests and challenges whether or not they're going to offer to reciprocate down the road. And now we have a second meeting. And so, yeah, you split the check, kind of like dating, and you never see each other again, or you kind of put the chit on your side and maybe they'll reciprocate. If not, it just costs you an extra $20 for lunch. But if it's a good relationship and the meeting went strong, hopefully they would look to do another one and continue to grow your relationship. A power player tip, as I call it, and I'm dating myself, as you'll see, I mentioned a lot of things that don't exist in today's world. With technology like Rolodexes, but I always carried a card caddy. Now everybody has these electronic business cards and text 21,000, for the virtual business card. We have a virtual business card, but I used to carry in my briefcase a card caddy, and I would have 3 business cards for every person that I was doing business or working with and interacting. So if I went out to a one-on-one with somebody, my card caddy was with me. And as I'm listening to Janine and her needs and her business and what she's looking to meet and potentially get introduced to, I know what's in my card caddy, and I'm going to start pulling out cards, and I'm going to leave that. I'm going to pay it forward and give her 2 or 3 cards. And I know that those people will take her call. All I tell her is, make sure you mention Bruce gave me your card or gave me your number, and he thought we should connect and see what we can do to help each other, work with each other, whatever it is, whether it's business or just another referral connection, business-wise for another one-on-one. So again, a lot of the networking do's and don'ts is, and you'll see as I click on the next couple, is this takes time. This is a long game, and it takes some patience, and you got to give to get. And so you keep paying it forward and have some of your own personal techniques and tools in there. It'll help keep you at the forefront of them. And you'll see we have the know, like, and trust in here. Is people will start to know you. They're going to start to like you because you're giving them opportunities. And then as they interact more, certainly the trust factor will grow. Now, I personally use the chamber because it's such a large body of participants. The Boca Chamber is like 1,000 members. Is I'll use that for the feeding ground for my private group. And we're going to start to talk about the private group. Okay. Now, a few years ago, I was the sponsor of the Chamber's new member orientation. And that basically meant that every month I was invited down. I was able to speak briefly, 5-minute intro, who I am, whatever. And I shared some of these buddy systems and tips and techniques because these are brand new members and they've got the same anxiety I'm feeling. But what it also allowed me to do was to gauge people who did not have an existing clique, right? They're just coming in new. They haven't established their cliques. They're going to be their own cliques in some sense. I want to help facilitate that. And then if I found that there were some key people in the group that I identify, I would invite them to my private group if they were interested in expanding their networking activities. And that's what we're going to talk, segue into next. Any questions on any of this?
Great stuff, Bruce.
Thanks, Jason. And again, let me reiterate, it takes time to develop. Okay, just like calling your leads and developing drip mechanisms for age leads and follow-ups, not everything's going to be instantaneous. One of the things I caution people, I might be a little bit ahead, but I'll throw it out here, is when you're running these groups, whether it's a leads group or your own networking or BNI, a tip like Tony, when you got a guest that comes in and they're just looking to sell the group as a guest, it works against them, right? Because the group is looking for quality members to join. They're not looking to buy solar panels and food supplements and get the 20% coupon off the local clothing store, which those are 3 exact examples of what happened in one of my groups, is people come in for the quick hit. And so you don't want to be that. You don't want to be asking for business so fast. You want to demonstrate value first and foremost. And again, it takes time. So here's some steps to overcome. You got to give to get, as we've been describing. Now, here's another tip. I understand from my own paradigm, if you will, my own lens of my glasses, is I know how I feel when people come on asking me for business, right? They want to sell me a phone system. They want to Forex trading. Now, everybody on Facebook's hitting you up for these, wackadoodle schemes, right? So if I connect with somebody and they start pounding me instantly, I'm turned off, right? I don't even know you and you want me to invest in Forex with you. Like, what the heck, right? So it's an immediate block and delete and get off my Facebook page, right? So now you're in a networking group. You don't necessarily want to be aggressive in the sense you want to meet people, get those one-on-ones. But here's what I do differently. They're expecting me, their defense, we call the croc brain, their defense is going up right away. Oh, here comes another realtor. Here comes another insurance agent. Here comes another mortgage broker. This is the 15th one here today, right? So they're already defensive. Well, I'm not asking for opportunities for their clients to work with me. What I say to them is, hey, Tony, I've got hundreds of clients. Now, it doesn't matter whether you have hundreds of clients or not. You could have 3. I have clients. My clients are always asking me for blank, blank, and blank. And I understand, if I'm right, that's the business that you do. Let me ask you something, Tony. Why should I introduce and trust you with my clients? And so I put them on the defensive when they're used to being, protective. Actually, I put them on the offensive, I guess. And now I've switched the table. So now they have to kind of convince me why they're unique, they're different, why I should work with them. Does that make sense? Use that. It's kind of that, if people follow Sandler, it's kind of, it's the reverse psychology, right? They're expecting you to go left and you're going right. You let them talk. You let them talk about themselves. As you can tell, I like to talk. Anytime somebody lets me talk, I think it's the greatest meeting we ever had, right? So you let them talk. It's going to elevate yourself
Bruce-
in their eyes.
Bruce,
Yeah.
Is this kind of a strategy you use at that initial mixer style, or is this something you do at that one-on-one meeting?
It can be both.
Both. Mhm.
It's certainly not something to never do here and only do there. It's certainly going to be based on the circumstance. Again, it's something, if you're prepared with the strategy, you can decide how you want to invoke it, Jason, right? It's like, oh, this would be a good time. You're bumping into, who would be a good connection for you at an event? What type of business line?
I mean, I think financial planners, CPAs are good. Elder law.
Okay, so those are three good ones, right? So you're running into a CPA. They've got hundreds of clients, thousands of clients. They're the gatekeeper. They know everything about everybody's finances. And again, they're going to be very defensive of like, I don't know you. I'm not referring you. We need to dance a little bit. But if you come and say, look, I have clients that are always looking for tax advisors. They've got auditing issues. I work in the business space. I got clients that need financials done. Tell me more about your practice. Like what would make you somebody I would want to refer to my clients? And now you're moving it the other way. And then based on them being able to share, their defenses are coming down. And they're going to say, Jason, tell me more about your practice, right? Or hit the brakes. I'm going to dinner, I'm leaving, right? But you soften them up a little bit.
Sure,
And
it's great.
the key is to bring their defenses down, right? Does that make sense? Now, certainly when you're in the one-on-one, you can revisit some of that. If you feel like you now have a general sense and you want to do a deeper dive, you can come with some more questions about their practice or specifics, right? I have a specific client need now that I'd like to share with you. Would this make sense, for your practice? Is this something we could do together, right? So it just depends on what the situation is. All right, good for everybody? Excuse me. I'm sorry, somebody saying that?
I just said yes.
Yes, you're good, or yes, you had something to add or question?
Oh, yes, I'm good.
Okay, Sherry's good? All right. Again, I don't ask for the opportunities. I challenge them how they can help my clients. And again, since Jason mentioned it, I actually have this as one of these power play tips regarding estate planning attorneys, because in our space, that would normally be a very good referral partner, or so you would think. But I'll share a situation that occurred for me, and the tip for you is estate planning attorneys are fed predominantly by financial advisors, planners, CPAs, and insurance people, right? So anybody in that space is feeding them. The reality is that they don't necessarily get clients coming in the door without an existing advisor of some level. They're not just opening a phone book and looking for estate planners and picking up leads like we would buy, final expense leads or Medicare leads. Estate planner attorneys aren't buying leads, right? So what happened in my situation, and this goes back 98, 99, I was working with an estate planning attorney for a number of years. I had been a training manager and district manager, so the people underneath me were using this particular estate planning attorney. He did my planning work. He was at my wedding. We were very good friends. We would golf. And we were getting to a point where I had to ask, how come I'm not getting anything back? And I don't know what the score sheet was. It was probably 20, 30, 40 to 0. And I mean 0. And so we're having lunch and I said, listen, Elliot, I got to tell you, I got a partner now and he's concerned that I'm giving you all this business and we're not getting anything back. And he wants to know, if there's something we need to do differently or what we can do. And unfortunately, my former friend, Elliot, said, well, you haven't given me that much. And that was his response. Yeah, exactly. Johnny's face is exactly my face, because if I gave you 1, it was more than me. And I know I gave you at least 30 or 40 relationships, not just direct business. I gave you my trainees as financial advisors that were all feeding you business as well. So are you counting that, right? You did other people in my family, they paid you. You did our work, right? So the bottom line is it was the wrong answer, right? And so unfortunately, our relationship ended that day. And so the pro tip here is do not expect any business coming to you if you go out and network with estate planning attorneys. They will be for you to use to bring to your clients. What you will ultimately get is discounted or free work for yourself as reciprocity, but they're not going to be able to bring you clients. Have 0 expectations. That's my pro tip on attorneys. All right.
Bruce,
Yeah.
question, is that because of the attorney clientele, that confidentiality thing, you think, or what do you?
No, it's a fair question, but no, if Tony brings in the clients to the law firm's not going to say, let me go get Bruce and kick Tony out of the client relationship, right? So the clients are coming in already attached. So most estate planning attorneys don't have unattached clients to now say, oh, you should work with my guy, Bruce, or you should check out Jason. Because most of them are going to have a financial advisor from, the asset management side, because that's who probably feeds them the most, and then us on the insurance side. So one of the two predominantly is bringing them the business. So we're a feeder system for them, but it's one way. They're not in the position, unless it's their own business, which is very rare, because if they're being fed by 100 financial advisor insurance agents, the opportunity for that rare one, even if it's their own, the likelihood's going to be slim. And then they'll tell you, my fraternity brother did it, or, I can't work with you because, but again, in Elliot's case, he's like, I don't have the opportunities. He should have just said, I don't have the opportunities, instead of saying, you didn't give me that much. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you'd still be friends today if he said he didn't have the opportunities.
It's really all he needed to say, right? He spit in my soup.
Yeah, he did.
All right. So Tony mentioned he's in LATIP. LATIP and BNI are somewhat competitors in this space. These are networking groups. BNI is Business Networking International. So again, some views here, my opinions, you take it, you experience it yourself. I'm not telling you not to join BNIs and not participate, but again, these are some of the drawbacks and what I tried to do differently and better by establishing my own group. First and foremost, there's lack of access to your seat. Now, Kevin said he got into a BNI. He's got a seat. He may not have all the insurance disciplines. He's not doing all the insurance disciplines. He's going to have some competitors and referral partners in the other disciplines that is outside of his, right? So that's good for him in a sense, because he can work with the other insurance agents. For us in our practice, we do everything on the life and health side. I don't want a Medicare person. I don't want a group benefits person. I don't want a life insurance person. So if they're already in those groups, I can't join, won't join that group. Okay, that's me. Most BNI groups, what are the top 5 membership positions? Anybody want to guess? Richard knows.
Insurance.
Insurance,
Realtor,
realtor,
mortgage broker,
mortgage broker, financial advisor, CPA,
Attorneys.
attorneys, right? So those are the hottest seats. If the group's good, we're not getting in because that insurance person is clinging to that seat because it's giving them a lot of business, right? So what is BNI going to tell you to do? They're going to say, hey, Jason, go get 6 or 8 of your own friends, or, go bring other people in and launch your own group, and they'll give you the system and the conduit to do so. Okay. Now you're adhering to their schedule, their rules, their fees and dues. Okay. But to me, this is the biggest reason why I did something different versus using a BNI concept 20 years ago, is there's a lack of intimacy. And so for me, the intimacy is a very big piece in the networking game. Again, go back to the chamber where we talked on a couple of slides back. I'm walking into a room of strangers. They don't know me. I don't know them. Now I'm in a BNI Latif group. If it's established 20, 30 members, they don't know me. I don't know them. And I've got to start, working and integrating and getting to know them. And they've got to get to know me. And so what I did is, we're going to talk on the next slide, is I established my own group from my own inner circles and went to people that I'd been doing business with, maybe I grew up with, went to college with, worked with, colleagues, whatever it was, neighbors, but people in different business lines that would fill the avenues of what seats would look like in a group. And I said, how would you like to launch our own group on a private basis? Okay. Now, my basic rule is we don't take strays. So what does that mean? If Tony found me on the internet and Tony wanted to join and he was not referred by an existing member who's vouching for Tony, Tony's not invited to the group. BNI, sorry, Tony, BNI, your check cleared, the seat's open, here you go, right? Maybe a little background check, but the point is that there's no intimacy level coming in. Now, I know Jason. Jason wants to join a group. We've been working together. We know each other. I can vouch for Jason. I'm comfortable giving Jason my clients. I'm going to tell everybody in the group, by my bringing in Jason, I trust him. They're going to trust him, and they're going to give him business and the benefit of the doubt right away. In theory, right? Everybody's going to always have some, let me test him out. Let me check first, type of thing. But there's a quick golf analogy. Anybody ever hear of the golf club Pine Valley? Pine Valley is the #1 ranked, most prestigious from a membership standpoint golf club in the country. It's outside of Philadelphia. Okay. It's so exclusive that if Richard was a member and I tried to get in and they denied my application because I wasn't fitting the club, they kick Richard out. So nobody refers membership. Donald Trump could not get into Pine Valley. He bought the golf club next door and converted it to a Trump Philadelphia, and I've played it, okay? Because nobody can play Pine Valley, all right? So if you treat your group the same way, you're not going to kick your members out. But if you treat the group the same way, that this is our criteria for membership, you're going to have a higher quality of trust and intimacy, and business is going to get done better and faster. Okay. Again, my opinions, my experiences. Make sense? Now, I have here, and again, I'm being brutally candid. It's okay to be selfish, right? It's your group. I want business and work with people that I like, that I know, that I trust, I'm comfortable feeding business to and giving my clients to. But at the same time, I know that I need people to feed me as well. And so I'm going to pick and choose. If I had a roster of multiple candidates, who's feeding me the most? Do I want them in that group and continue to work with them? So it's okay to be a little bit selfish when you're defining your group. Identify and contact key players in their space, right? The estate planning attorney, the CPA, the better realtors, commercial realtor or residential realtor, whatever it is, right? Again, my choice and preference is industry exclusivity. Some groups will have, the chamber doesn't stop you from having multiple players in the chamber. You might in a leads group have a singular exclusivity. But for me, the groups that work best is have one financial advisor, one CPA, one. Now, attorney, there's like 6 or 8 different attorneys because they all have different disciplines, and they'll love the fact that you put 4 or 5 attorneys in a group. Okay, because a real estate attorney, an estate planning attorney, a tax attorney, a litigator, a PI, a family law, they do their own business. They don't do that other stuff, and they share fees and revenues, and they'll bring clients in, and they get a third. So they're happy to pass it around, and that'll be a very strong leverage. So get yourself a good amount of attorneys in the group. You'll have a good group. I think we had 3 or 4 at our peak. Would these clients be somebody that you would trust with your best client? Are you willing to risk your top relationships with these people? Hopefully, the answer is yes. Again, I've said it before, it's in gold here, you got to give together. You can't go into any group expecting to get business right away. This will give you a sense in our various activities. We added this slide since our last event. These are the different places so far in our 8 or 9 months that we've gotten business from. That's a lot of octopi out there, right? We've got Facebook community pages. We get fed Facebook leads 2 to 3 times a week. Natural market, we post on Facebook. We do mailings. We do newsletters. We do email campaigns. We're getting referrals from our natural market. Obviously, client referrals. I got the Boca Chamber. I'm in this group called M3. Our website generates activity. Boca Beyond Trusted Advisors Group, that's my personal group. Tony and I are in NLX. I'm in the different chambers, PNC partners, okay? So this is our tentacles. This is the volume of stuff. We use a commission tracking system called Agency Block, and every piece of business that comes in is coded with where that business originated. And we ran that report after last week's webinar to actually have that data to share. We weren't sharing that in the previous presentations, okay? And there were a list of over 20, okay? That's in only since November and really January. That's the kind of activity that we do. So I don't want a cold call, okay? Don't get me wrong, those that need to be on the phones and make their calls, but that's not what I want to do at this stage of my career. I've done that before. I want to be working smarter. I work hard, but I want to work smart. And I want the referral partner relationships and those activities and put that time in with one-on-ones and getting to know people. And I have things to offer that they need. And one of our biggest lines, Tony's heard me say it is, I have nothing to sell. I just have problems to solve. And so how can we help you? What are your problems, right? And so and we're going to get into tools in the toolbox, because I have the tools, or I know not to say no and be concerned or scared off of an opportunity. I know I can bring in Richard, I can bring in Kevin, I can bring in Marty. I can find that right referral partner if I need to. I've got the tools in my toolbox. Does that make sense so far? I'm very thirsty. I don't know, I'm parched. Now, just a quick, easy little scenario here, right? What does a hammer salesperson do when their customer wants to buy a screwdriver? Who's the sale, right? I've only got one tool in my toolbox. I only sell hammers. I go door to door, I'm selling hammers. I don't have wrenches, I don't have pliers, I don't have whatever, Guy says, I want to buy a screwdriver. I need a Phillips head. I need a flat. So all I have is hammers, sir. Sorry, I can't help you, right? Next house. So again, I'm not disparaging if you're only in one vertical in your insurance space right now. Be good at it, develop it. And we're going to talk about aligning with or adding more tools to your toolbox, but have the people around you in the fish tank to help you not say no and not lose opportunities. Okay, so what tools are you missing from your toolbox? How many opportunities might you be missing out on? Even if you split the commission with somebody, it's better than a zero, right? What are your options? You can add and expand your knowledge base, include more products and services. Again, we'll disclose, Janine, you went off camera, I don't know if you still hear me, but Janine and I are in a group we were talking about long-term care. She's not very versed in long-term care. We put together some quotes. We did a Zoom screen share, and I showed her and walked her through the do's and don'ts, or the way an illustration works, how you want to talk to the client to help her become more product knowledge or educated on the long-term care conversation, because she's had people come to her needing this or having problems in this area. And so based on her experience, this was not part of her toolbox yet. So we spent some time and tried to get her educated and comfortable to speak to the clients. And then we even left it with some homework of what to ask the client, what to find out, to start to pre-qualify them and see where the fit is, because there's different ways to go with it, right? Find strategic partners. Now, if she doesn't want to do that business and she's comfortable having me work with her client, and we go in and I represent her as her strategic partner, and we get that business, we're going to share that business. 2 weeks ago, she would have never had that opportunity to even pursue that business. Now she does. I'm just using that as an example, okay? Not saying everybody's going to call me for their business, but think about in your markets where you are, who you can affiliate with, and start to make your alliances so that you stop saying no on certain opportunities. Pretty good? Makes sense? All right, so let's, little quick tangent. This was one of the key speaking pieces when I did 8% Nation last month in Dallas. And so this got their attention of how I was able to get in the room, okay? I had been attending these events as just a participant, and I started seeing others speak and do breakout sessions and keynotes. And I sent a text message to about 6 people that run events. And I said, do you think your audience would be interested in hearing how I generated a $400,000 commission on one case using life insurance and annuities? And the response was a variety of things, but some were like, you mean over a year? You mean, that was your business for the year? No. One case, one situation. We solved a problem, and I'm going to describe it to you, and it's going to be a little high level estate planning. And my intent is not to make you hear crickets and Charlie Brown wah-wahs, but the point is that I prepared and educated myself in my career to be knowledgeable in a multitude of areas. And the point of this story is when Moby Dick finally shows up on your bow, when Sasquatch is sitting at your campsite, are you going to be able to get the business and solve that problem and make that transaction happen? And this is the lesson in the story, okay? So I was doing retirement planning seminars, very target audience, and I had a couple come in and very nondescript. You would not think they were worth $5 million, but they were worth $5 million. And this is about 20 years ago, 18, 20 years ago. Their pain was they had a portfolio that literally consisted of one stock. It was a bank stock called First Union, which was out of Philadelphia, if anybody knows that region. They were collecting the dividend, and the manager that was currently in place did not sell the stock to diversify. And the reason why is it had a cost basis of $8,000. So those who don't understand taxes and stock work, $5 million has a basis of 8,000, which means $4,992,000 is capital gains. And in 2001 or 2, capital gains tax was 28%. So this would be a $1.4 million taxable event, which means their $5 million is now going to be worth only 3.6. Okay, just simple math, right? So nobody ever sold the stock. Tool in my toolbox, I had done extensive estate planning training, and there is a program, a feature, a technique, if you will, called a charitable remainder trust, where you gift the stock to a trust that goes to a charity when you die. That event allows the stock to be sold in the trust tax-free. So we're able to maintain $5 million of investments to reinvest. We now rebuild the portfolio. We put it into a variable annuity. They're entitled to 8% lifetime income. That's $400,000 a year. The stock they were in was paying them about a 4% dividend, which was only $200,000 a year. So we raised their income. We saved the tax event. The estate taxes were not where they are today, which is like 11 million. They were still 600,000. So they were also facing a state tax of another $1.5 million. With our strategy, we avoided all of that. We diversified the portfolio. And then out of the $400,000, we created an irrevocable life insurance trust for $5 million to replace the asset they just gave away, because they took it out of their estate. They gave it to the charity at their death, but it's now in the trust for the charity. Their kids would not inherit that money. So Jason doesn't want to cut his kids out, right? I don't know Jason's kids, but why would I cut my kids out of 5 million, Bruce? Well, hold on. We're going to replace the 5 million over here using life insurance. Okay. So we have an annuity sale, we have a life insurance sale, and we had a stock sale, obviously, at that point. Now, all this sounds great so far. Here's the coup d'etat. Does anybody know what happened to First Union stock? Besides my wife? First Union merged with, thank you, Tony. First Union merged with Wachovia. Wachovia went under in the financial crisis of 2009. I'm sure the stock went up above 5 million from when we did that transaction, but the value of Wachovia stock dropped 98%. So that $5 million, if we never met these people, they didn't come to my event, I didn't know how to identify a charitable remainder trust, give them this strategy, they would have stayed with their other advisor. They would have had that Wachovia stock all those years, and then it would have been worth less than $100,000 with no dividend. And that's 12 years ago. Okay, so you don't know what's going to transpire. I certainly didn't know the stock was going to implode like that, but this was why we were encouraging diversification. So we solved the problem. It was a major pain problem. It saved them millions of dollars in taxes. It saved them potentially losing millions of dollars of their assets. If they were in their early 50s then, they'd be in their 70s now, and they would have been financially devastated, right? I'm not saying everybody's going to get this Moby Dick. I'm not saying you got to go learn all this stuff, but what opportunities are out there that you could be identifying that you're missing out on, right? Can you help fix people's problems? People will give you business. You will be highly compensated if you could solve their problems and remove their pain. And so I share that as that lesson of, you know, I may never get this case again. Things have certainly changed since then, but it's a whopper of a story, right? Excuse me one second. So what tools might be missing from your toolbox? Do you have the drive and the perseverance you need to keep pushing through adversity? Part of my book's going to talk about how to overcome and persevere. You have the determination and the fortitude. You have the unwillingness to quit, the desire to be the best. Do you have the product knowledge to never miss a sale? You want to build a referral network to generate your own inbound consistent leads. Start to bring you to a close tonight. I appreciate your patience in being with us. In summary, what we hope to teach you at Destined for Greatness is the secrets to consultative sales, how to be an octopus, how to develop your own power network, generate inbound leads, have more tools in your toolbox, become the person that people know, like, and trust. Stop selling, start solving, get out of that mode of sales, be a consultant. Starting in September, we are launching a mastermind group for salespeople, agents, financial advisors, realtors, whatever it is. We want to bring tools to you, help you collaborate, hold you accountable, help you accelerate your growth, be a stronger advisor in your space, okay? And as if you know Coach Burt, I'm a big disciple of Coach Bird out there. He speaks a lot of these events. This is his closing line. I can't help you, Bruce, until you commit. But once you commit, Bruce, I promise I won't let you fail. And that's the commitment for those who participate in our mastermind program, is we want to help you succeed. We're here to make sure you don't fail. Okay. For those attending tonight, Robin, you got the link in the chat. You can sign up. We're going to meet a mastermind. The big one I'm looking for is to build out a mastermind for agents to collaborate, talk about different topics, work on weaknesses in your practice. We're going to meet twice a month for about an hour. It's a 3-month minimum commitment because nothing's going to happen in a month. Not going to move the needle. It's $99 a month. It's a 3-month start. You want to pay annually, we have an annual price. And then I do have some private coaching clients that want to do a deeper dive more to their schedule and their particular needs. Then we also have some coaching programs available for them as well through the Destined for Greatness site. Okay, so that's what we have to offer. We've got one more webinar. If you know anybody who wants to attend next week, if you're interested in doing this, you can certainly hit the link and register accordingly. We're going to start September 7th. It's going to be Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Today's Thursday, but we're going to be doing it Tuesdays. And again, I don't expect to have hundreds of people, so we really want to collaborate and work with people so that they can elevate and get the tools that they want and bring strengths from you, right? Jason has strengths I don't have. Kevin has strengths. Everybody's got strengths. We're going to collaborate and facilitate and have agendas for everybody. And then you're going to report back how you executed. What did you do? What's going on in your networking events? Did you just launch your own group? Whatever it is, be accountable. Okay? Any questions on any of that? If you're ready for greatness, we'd love to have you come join us. I'm here for questions, but that's pretty much all I had to share with you guys tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
So Bruce, just for clarity, you're not just offering, it sounds like it's almost custom what you're offering. You're offering success. You're offering a person the ability to build success. So it's not like you're just offering the opportunity for someone to create their own BNI group. Wherever a person is, it sounds like that's where you're trying to help them go for it.
This is your weaknesses, right? And that may not be the fair word, but these are where you want help. Okay. So if I'm, let's think about your client relationship. You're their financial doctor, you're their insurance doctor. Okay. With my 35 years in the business, I've done things, I've trained others. I can help you. We can identify where you need or you're having struggles in what you're doing and hold you accountable and give you things to execute and go do. So if you say, yes, I'd love to build my own networking group, well, then let's do a deep dive and construct with you the activities and steps you need to go build your own group. And then you're going to report back and we're going to talk about how to massage, fix it, tweak it, and keep it moving forward. And then if you're in the mastermind group, you're going to share that with other people. And Tony's going to be doing the same thing in Florida. And Jason's going to do the same thing in Indiana. And the markets are different, right? So what's happening in Wisconsin, what's happening in Portland, what's happening in Winter Park, might be different, but the theme is going to be the same and the activities should be able to be worked. And I'm just using that as the example. You may have no interest in building your own networking group, but like you and I did with long-term care, you might want to have more of product knowledge brought into your universe, right? So depending on who you guys are affiliated with, whether it's HST or TCC, thank you, Tanya, you might want more individual help on certain things that maybe you're not getting or you don't know where to get it. And look, I don't profess to know everything, but if it's the right fit, but we're here to make you succeed, right? We want to elevate people's business game.
And you said September 1st is when you'll get
September 7th, we're going to send out a follow-up email with the dates and a reminder and the link to sign up if you haven't done so. But yeah, I'm of the adage, fire, ready, aim, instead of ready, aim, fire, because delay comes in details. Details delay. So if you worry about the details, you worry about the agenda, you worry about how am I going to do this, why, I'm not ready to do it. Details delay. So fire, I'm setting a date. Here it is. We're going. And now you're back into it. So I set the dates. I'm doing webinars. People want to sign up. They want to come check it out. They want to try it for 90 days, whatever it is, but it's on the calendar. So same thing. Your activities are going to be fire, then go figure it out. Commit, go book the luncheon at the chamber, pay the $30, and then let's figure out the roster, the list, who you want to go with, finding a partner, whatever it is that's going to make you more successful. But commit to the event, right? Get it on the calendar. Get out of your comfort zone. As one another.
Hey, Bruce, can you talk a little bit about what the group coaching format is going to look like? What can we expect on a weekly, basis, or bi-weekly?
Sure. Fabulous question. I use the analogy of think about an airplane when you're at the airport, that the plane just doesn't take off, right? There's preparation. You as the passenger have to go through certain protocol. The pilots and the crew have to go through certain protocol to eventually be able to push away from the gate. So as a group, we're going to have some preparation, get to know each other and get a sense of where people want to focus and attention, and obviously figure out how to prioritize some of that for everybody. Find maybe the one uniform piece that everybody needs and wants, right? If it's 9 out of 10, where does it fall on the 10th person's list, as a priority? So there'll be a little bit of a curve in that regard of getting organized in what we want to go after, okay? Yes, I will have agenda items. I will have speakers that'll come in. We're going to have exercises to go execute and come back to the group. But again, my intent is to tailor it, not be a dictator, but this is your group. So what do you want to focus on? What are your priorities or hotspots? And then we're going to collaborate, and I'll facilitate as well as bring in material and experience to then help enlighten, just like today. Like, I don't know how much of what you got out of today you've ever even been thinking about, but I keep doing them because people are like, I never thought of that, or yeah, I have felt that way and I have avoided it, and you brought it to my attention, right? So is that helping you, Jason?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's kind of we got the direction. It's obviously can't be like, concrete because it's fluid. But we know that it's fluid. Yeah, for me,
if I made it a flat curriculum and it's just a class, it's not going to resonate with everybody at every single session, right? Because if I'm talking A and all the B's are over here and they're not interested in A, they're checking out. So if we can collaborate and converse, I think the energy will be that much stronger for everybody to benefit, right?
Yeah, I would say for me, I've been kicking around this idea actually for a few months of launching a networking group. I've never been in a networking group, so I don't know if that's like a terrible idea. And I was actually kind of contemplating joining like a BNI just to learn networking.
Absolutely.
Like that. And so my top two goals are my number one goal is to become 100% referral based,
Right.
And what does that mean? Does that mean building a group? Does that mean developing referral partners, whatever? And so those are kind of the two things that if I were to join the group coaching, I would want to, have like step-by-step on how do we launch this group and how do we get, develop those relationships to the point where they are flowing,
Absolutely. So I think my intent, if we go by the fire ready aim, was what you have tonight is kind of my first series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sharing this, I'm prompting your thoughts on these topics. So this could be 6 months of work right here, right? Because most of you are going to want to do your own group or figure out how to make the groups you have better or add another activity in that space. So if we look at the octopus and the activities, where are you weakest? Where do you want to improve? Again, if everybody wants to work on building their own group, well, then that's what the group will focus on first, right? And then we're all going to mold and grow together, come back each session, how do we do, wins and losses, whatever it is. And eventually within 3 to 6 months, you're all going to have your own groups up and running, and we help you micromanage it in the sense. It's what I've been doing for 20 years. So again, I don't have a textbook, Jason, on A, B, and C, but certainly I think from my execution and sharing my views, my failures, you can take and glean that to make it work for you. Make sense?
I think so.
Okay, look, it may not be for everybody. You have to make your decisions. Some of us are in groups who've already paid a lot of money, right, Janine? I understand, Johnny and I, spent a lot of money for TCC. Okay, so I understand. And look, they're great. I mean, if you go into all those sessions, there's a lot of meat there. But I'm also speaking in their sessions as an expert in that area to help them bring in, for you as the students, more knowledge, right? So, when the timing's right, we'll be here. But those who need it, come join us. Again, try it for 3 months. It's not a lifetime commitment, and it's certainly not a major ask financially. So it's up to everybody. All right. Jovi, I don't know if you're on the right time zone, but we're wrapping up. Jovi came in a little bit late.
She and I are chatting. I just said hello.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the time
So
zone is.
it's basically, think of it, it's $99 a month. It's $1,000 for the year if you want to pay for the year. So once you're committed and you want in, you'll get a discount. But $297, we're just asking for 3-month commitments. So when you come in, give it the 6 sessions. Come in for the 3 months for the $297. If it's working, you keep renewing. You want to pay for the year and get the discount. Tony and I are in a group. It's $75 a month, which is $900. But if you pay for the year, it's $700, right? So we're just trying to make it financially affordable for everybody. And yes, we're laying out money, but $100 is, how many aged leads you're buying, or some internet lead you just bought for $30. So hopefully it'll look, I know what I paid to get some of the education and coaching I have, and it's tens of thousands, right? So, I'm bringing that back, and I'm just asking for a modest contribution back for the time and the effort and the knowledge that I've built up, right? That's why you pay a coach. All right, any other questions? I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll send you a thank you email with everything on the dates for the rest of the year for the mastermind, and the link if you needed to get. And like I said, if anybody wants to join us next week, we're going to have one more, which is the 31st. And then the following week, the mastermind is going to get underway. All right.
Bruce?
Yes.
So if we join this, then it's going to be where everyone in the group who joins collectively will come up with the different things that we would like to focus on.
Correct. We're
Okay.
going to take a survey, let's say, of everybody's needs and desires for, I didn't spend the time tonight. What would you like to get out of tonight? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah.
But when we're together, that's what we're going to start with, is what Tony's business line is, who Tony is, what is Tony looking to get out of the group, what are his top 3 priorities, right? So if everybody gives us their top 3 priorities, we're going to know where the group is fitting, and then we'll agree on, we're going to attack this first, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's not for me to dictate. I want to give you what you guys want. So you'll help me massage it, and then we'll go down that path. And then once we've accomplished where everybody's working and gelling on that side, okay, let's go to the second item on the list, which is, your Facebook plans or your social media marketing, or, whatever the next one is.
Okay.
And so some people might want more product knowledge, right?
Mhm.
So, we might have a breakout session and half the group work on this and the other half work on that, or I'll have a guest speaker talk about I'll bring in my Sandler coach, and we'll talk about the Sandler training and their methods and how you can apply and work that. So, there's things like that I have planned.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, we're good. Any more questions? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you joining us tonight. I wish you good luck. Tony, I'll see you in a few days, I think. All right, Kevin, Jason, thank you.
Next
Tanya?
week.
See you guys next week.
Take care.
All right, everybody.
Bye.